Okay. Uh, Now let's go to the chapter 1. Chapter 1 about nutrition labeling and this book. You might be confused about the spelling because the label label is common in British English and in American English. But however, when we plus IANG after the L, the British English should be double L. But in American English, only single L, LABELING. But check the title. The codex in the Europe, thus they prefer to use British English. Look at here, labeling double L here, and okay, 15. I just mentioned. Let me show you here about this book. I will switch there first. Okay. And here, okay. Let me share some information is useful for you. Date format in this book. The format of dates used in quoted texts in their original forms. For example, date, month, and year. That is very common in Europe. I call them European style. But in American style, it is month in the first, days in the middle, and year in the rear. And however, but in Taiwan, we commonly use a spatial year called the Mingo. But I prefer to use the different style. However, okay, forget it. It's about politics. And now I use ISO 8601 8601 date and time format. In short words, that is the 4 digits of the year in the first, and the followed is the month, 2 digits. For example, now is September. We should write 09. Today is 23rd. We write 2 and 3. Okay, let me show you here. The local time here in Taiwan is the year of 2023, September 09, 23rd, but we call it 2 and 3. That is the ISO format. And why ISO format is so important? Because, for example, I bought a can of fish, but the date, the expiration date is really weird. For example, if there is a 0507 and 23, absolutely we know that the year is 2023. That's okay, no problem. However, it's May or it's July. I saw two types of that. It is really weird. But if the date on the can of food, the printed words is 05 JUL. Oh, it's easier. It's easier, but this kind of date expression is relatively less than the other one. Thus, I emphasize that ISO format is important for us. You can check our website here. The website here, I said about the data format, I prefer to use ISO 8601 because, uh, especially in computer science, no, not computer science. Everybody needs computer. Everybody is using computer, including their cell phones every day. So we need a unified form, and the ISO 8601 is the best one. Why? Because when we arranging or sorting the files according to the file name, this format is really helpful. Okay, let me go back to that. The kind of ISO 8601, the format is the same as CNS 7648, the data element and interchange formats. Okay, then I have a joke here. Date. In English, the date, D-A-T-E, has several meanings. The first one is a kind of fruit under the palm tree. The second one is about the calendar, the date. The third one is a female, a boy and girl have a date. Have a date. So just a joke. And sometimes when I'm not an English native speaker, I'm a Taiwanese, and when we learn English, we enjoy the kind of differences. Okay. Monday I will show you some Taiwanese joke. Only that has that kind of background can understand the kind of meaning. But I will translate into English. I will show you. I show. Very interesting. Okay. So date. The formats of dates. Okay, and about the formats of numbers. During the translation, and I collect some information. Then I learn the lessons, or maybe learn the lessons with a negative meaning, but sometimes it has positive meaning. Here, in Codex guideline, calcium is 1 blank 000 milligram, but our translation, Taiwan, we prefer to use American style. That is 1 comma 000 milligrams. We prefer use this. However, most of you will go to the US for your junior and senior years. But just a reminder, broaden your view, your mind. And in Europe or in different area, they use different type of format. And for example, it's called thousands of separators. And here is 1 million. 1 million. We Taiwanese use American style. That is 1 comma 000 comma 000. But in European countries, they use 1 space or blank 000 space 000. That's okay. That's okay. Okay. Let me come back here. In the future, if you, any of you or all of you, that's okay. If you want to edit a book, to create a book or translate something, I encourage you to do something. First of all, to think about American English or British English. Because we translate this from Codex. Codex is using British English. And when I was a PhD student, when I was master student in Taiwan, we always use American English. It's up to you. Up to you. For example, a student from our department, she translated the information from UK, from EU about the allergen regulations in European. However, we plan continue to translate some guidelines from UK. Thus, we plan to publish the book by British English. I know it's not only the spelling, but the kind of sentence structure or the kind of sentence preferences. Actually, I'm learning. Uh, there is a situation. It's also good news. Many software they can set their correction model. For example, I prefer the British English model, the American English model. Then the computer, the software will, according to the setting, to correct my writing, my typing into the setting. For example, today I set my words, my texts into British English. If I spell, if I spell labeling with a double L inside, that's okay. But only single L, the software will correct me, will remind me. That's okay. And for example, British English like labeling, fiber, hydrolyze, uh, hydrolyze with an S. However, but in the US, that is a Z. So in the beginning, when we was a college student, when we were the the master student in Taiwan, we prefer to use American English. But after we read more and more information from Europe, we need to know, we need to learn, we need to adjust ourselves to that kind of English. I know some of you, your English ability is much more better than we teachers, but I still want to remind you, uh, make a decision. Your work, I mean, you want to publish a book like me. What are the readers? What's your purpose? For example, maybe next year the student she and I will publish a book about the allergy regulations in UK and EU. Thus, we will write the book in British style English. And another student, we will publish a book, and we aim to use American English. So it depends on your purpose. Okay, and this part, I will skip this part because it's a little bit strange for the Taiwan government about their English in food regulations. Okay, let me go back. Let me go back to the chapter of this one. Uh, the topic of this book is about food nutrition labeling, and the subtitle is food labeling is not mandatory for non-packaged or non-prepackaged. Let me tell you a better story. I really got a lesson because when you watch my video or listen my lecture in a classroom, no matter what kind of format it is, okay, I need to tell you, I suffer I suffered a serious brain not storming. Brainstorming is to think good ideas. Brain impact because and later I clarify. I spent a lot of time reading a lot of materials and check the definition from the US, from the UK. Then finally, I got the truth, the philosophy. I just joke. That is, in the US, packaged food is called packaged food, and in the opposite is called non-packaged. But in Europe and UK, it's called pre-packed. Pre-packed. So you need to consider those terms are the same meaning in the food science and food regulations. Again, but no one told me this bitter truth. No one told me. And now I told you this, and it saves you maybe 2 or 3 years for the trial and error. Again, in the US, it's called non-packaged, packaged or non-packaged. But the same meaning in Europe and UK is called non-prepacked, prepacked, and in Taiwan, it's a hybridization, like the Toyota hybridization Camry. It combined two definitions, two terms. Oh, okay, I stop criticizing Taiwan government. Okay, now, okay, come back here. Just a reminder. Most countries, the food labeling is not forced by the laws, so it's not mandatory for that. Okay. So in the first sentence, I said, sorry for a reminder in the first topic of the first chapter. Generally, the food labeling is voluntary, not mandatory. Mandatory is it should be done according to the regulations. Voluntary, you can do it as you want. It's a different situation. Okay, go here. So I have some explanation here. I said prepacked is often used in the EU and UK, and prepackaged for codex. In the US, it uses packaged according to the 21 CFR Part 101. I will explain that, and you had better to learn about this because you will go to the US for your study. It took just it will take you maybe several minutes or several hours to understand this concept. It saves you a lot of time. Trust me, I can bring you that kind of knowledge. And the second note is some global fast food chains have food labeling on their menu or on their website, including food ingredients. It has onion, bread, uh, ground beef, cooked ground beef, tomato, ketchup, something like this, and nutrition labeling about the calories, about the sugar, about the carbohydrate, about the fat, about the sodium, something like this. And allergy labeling, for example, the whey fish burger with seafood, something like this. And however, it's voluntary for many countries, not mandatory. It means that the global the global fast food chains, the kind of big business, they are able to do that. And okay, and the editor has taught the food regulations in Taiwan for years, and he is me, it's me. He categorized the mandatory food labeling into four parts according to my teaching experiences. Personally, I categorize those into four parts. The first one is about food ingredient labeling. The second one, nutrition labeling, is that is the main topics in our book. Allergen labeling, actually about 3 years ago, two friends and I, we have done a translation about the codex. They released a guideline for food business about food control, food allergy control. But we have no time to organize the information into a book. We had the plan 3 years ago. And the other labeling, for example, the genetically modified organism, the kind of food, the origin is from somewhere. For example, recently, Taiwan, we had a big storm, political storm, because the Ministry of Agriculture imported a lot of eggs from Brazil, from Brazil, uh, and some food food companies using those eggs to process to produce the liquid eggs. However, about the labeling about the origin, some government officers made some mistakes about the labeling. Oh, okay, I'm going to stop discussing the political issue. Okay, the origin is a different issue. Then vegetarian labeling or others. And about PBDS, PBDS is here. PBDS is for pre-packed for the direct sale. Pre-packed for direct sale, maybe most of you not easy to imagine that. Let me show you a situation in Taiwan. Now it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I want to buy a sandwich. I want to buy a hamburger. Then I walk on the street and I saw a breakfast store. Then hi, good morning. I want to buy this sandwich. How much is it? Oh, it's $15. It's $20. then I pay it. I get that kind of food, sandwich or hamburger. That is PBDS in the UK. In UK, such kind of food is called non-prepacked food. Should should label the ingredients and allergen. It's called Natasha's law. If I have time, I will show you in maybe few weeks after today. It's kind of, as a food scientist, it really shocked me because it's very hard to implement. It's very hard for British restaurant owners to do this. Okay, and in some countries, food authority officials always emphasize that new established or amended act, what is act? A high level of laws. Regulations is a relatively low level. I cannot say level, not as high as act. Okay, of food labeling and to protect consumers. However, nevertheless, they forget to say some exceptions. That is one thing. Just a recall, let's review the purpose of food labeling. Does it ask food manufacturing to work more on packaging? No. It presents important information for consumers, such as nutrients for pregnant women, ingredients for vegetarians, and for people with cardio and vascular disease or history of anaphylaxis, and some about the calcium sodium allergen from some unpacked food, the cheese. It has no impact on human health because it has no food labeling that's not real. Because cheese, I love cheese, but generally, cheese has a lot of sodium. Has a lot of sodium. It smells really good. I'm a cheese lover, but it has a lot of sodium, and it's allergen because it is made from milk. Made from milk. But however, no labeling required for sodium or allergen. Allergen. Oh, okay. Let me take a break, then go to the next section.